This bundle of paper seized recently by police is worth more than the entire British economy. They're bonds, notes from the US Federal Reserve Bank, promising to pay the bearer whatever amount they show. In this case, $2.3 trillion from the 1930s. That's if they're genuine. Apparently, the world is full of such illusory bonds. If you didn't know better, you might go to an authenticator like 69-year-old Graham Hawksworth. A paper specialist and former police advisor, Hawksworth seems to have all the right credentials. He's certainly got the patter.
I'm picking a particular spot, which is just to the right of the last dollar sign on the document, so that when I turn it over, I can go back to that particular spot.
In 6 years of authenticating US Treasury bonds, Hawksworth, who'd agreed to be filmed while on bail, says he made just over £60,000. But in April 2001, his nice little earner came to an end when the City of London police got a tip-off from the other side of the world.
We had a fax sent over from the Hong Kong Commercial Branch Police to our intelligence desk, which asked did we know anything about Graham Hawksworth, and these bonds were being offered out in Hong Kong to possibly open up a line of credit with one of the banks out there. The banks were suspicious about it, and that's really what put us on the trail.
Police raided Hawksworth's bank vault at the Holborn branch of the HSBC. There they found US Treasury bonds with an amazing face value of just over $1 trillion. Hawksworth told police an extraordinary story. He reckoned the bonds were printed by the American Secret Service in the 1930s. They were in exchange apparently for the gold of this man, Chinese nationalist leader Chiang Kai-shek, to protect it from Mao's communists.
They flew in boxes to the Chinese warlords to replace the gold with these high finance documents.
Like all good conspiracy theories, this one has an element of truth. CIA records show that there was indeed a secret mission to remove gold from China. But Hawksworth moved way beyond this. He was now claiming these bonds had survived for 70 years, been passed to him by a client, and were authentic.
In my opinion, this was printed in the period between 1934 and 1947.
In reaching these rather exciting conclusions, Hawksworth relied heavily on this massive report commissioned from the University of Catalonia in Spain. It was written by the intriguingly named Ana Maria Feixas, a forensic scientist who describes herself as having a speciality in the field known as graphoscopic analysis.
Mrs. Feixas did exist, but she was actually a lawyer, and her main area of expertise was in calligraphy, which apparently is handwriting, and which to my point of view has got nothing to do with the printing of bonds.
If that wasn't damaging enough, apparently neither Miss Feixas nor Hawksworth had spotted some elementary mistakes.
Missed letters, totally misspelt, millions with no L's but 2 E's. They looked basically like a child had produced them.
Damning though this may appear, it didn't faze Hawksworth.
If you're going to produce high-value documents that are for a covert operation, you want them to look less like regular currency than the regular currency itself.
But there was even worse to come. The bonds, remember, were meant to be from the 1930s. Police sent them to forensics.
They felt that the bonds themselves were actually inkjet printed, and the technology for inkjet printing obviously didn't come into general use till about the 1970s, 1980s.
Oh dear. Police now knew Hawksworth authentication was dodgy, but without a conspirator or a victim, there was no crime. For a year, the case dangled. But then, enter Michael Slameye. A tip-off revealed this Croatian-born Canadian was in London hunting for a buyer for more dubious bonds. On arrest, another far-fetched story. Slamai said he'd got the bonds on a business trip to the Philippines. Locals there told him they'd stumbled upon them inside the wreck of an old American bomber that had crashed in the jungle. Police then discovered some of these bonds, allegedly worth billions of dollars, had been authenticated by the expert Hawksworth.
He was just a client. I think I only met him on about 7 occasions altogether, and 2 of them were because he popped in for a cup of coffee.
But police suspected there was more to their relationship than coffee mornings. They said the 2 men had conspired to use the fake bonds to defraud people as yet unknown. A jury agreed with them and last month found them guilty.
How you can get arrested and charged with conspiracy for putting your opinion on paper, to me, is ludicrous.
But it was not ludicrous to the judge, who today gave both men 6 years to reflect the huge amounts involved and the grave potential loss to possible victims. What would you do if someone brought you more bonds?
Good question. I'd have to take a long time to think about that one.